October 16, 1854, Happy Birthday Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, A Life of Unconventional Brilliance. Oscar Wilde was a man who defied convention at every turn. He was a gifted writer, a celebrated wit, and a dandy who embraced the art of living with gusto. But his unconventional approach to life and art would ultimately lead to his downfall. Wilde was born in Dublin in 1854 and was educated at Trinity College. He soon moved to London, where he became a fixture in the city's literary and artistic circles. He gained fame with his plays, including The Importance of Being Earnest and An Ideal Husband, which were celebrated for their wit and satire. But Wilde's personal life was just as unconventional as his art. He was openly gay at a time when homosexuality was illegal and treated as a mental illness. He had a tumultuous relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas, which ultimately led to his arrest and imprisonment for gross indecency. Despite the hardships he faced, Wilde refused to be defeated. He used his time in prison to write one of his greatest works, De Profundis, a letter to Douglas that reflects on his life and experiences. Wilde emerged from prison a changed man, disillusioned with the society that had rejected him. He spent his final years in exile in France, where he continued to write and to live life on his own terms. He died in 1900, at the age of 46, a true iconoclast who had defied convention and left an indelible mark on the world of art and literature. Today, Wilde is remembered as a brilliant and unconventional writer who challenged the norms of his time. His legacy lives on in his works, which continue to inspire readers and artists around the world. Oscar Wilde may have lived a life of unconventional brilliance, but his impact on the world of literature and art will be felt for generations to come. Oscar Wilde, turning points and face them. Oscar Wilde was a man who had lived a life full of ups and downs, triumphs and failures. He had enjoyed great success as a writer, but he had also suffered great setbacks in his personal life. Through it all, he had remained true to himself, even in the face of adversity. As a young man, Wilde had been full of ambition and promise. He had been educated at some of the best schools in England and had gone on to study at Oxford University. He was a brilliant student and had a gift for writing that soon became apparent to everyone who knew him. After leaving Oxford, Wilde moved to London and quickly became a fixture in the literary scene. He wrote plays and novels that were witty, irreverent, and full of life. He was a man who loved beauty and art, and he believed that life was meant to be enjoyed to the fullest. But as Wilde's fame grew, so did his troubles. He began an affair with a young man named Lord Alfred Douglas, which eventually led to his downfall. Homosexuality was illegal in England at the time, and Wilde was eventually arrested and sentenced to 2 years of hard labor in prison. Despite the hardships he faced, Wilde refused to be defeated. He used his time in prison to write some of his most famous works, including The Ballad of Reading Gaol. The poem was a meditation on the nature of punishment and the human condition, and it showed that even in the darkest of times, Wilde's spirit remained unbroken. After his release from prison, Wilde found that his life had changed. He was no longer the celebrated writer he had once been, and many of his former friends and colleagues had turned their backs on him. But Wilde refused to give up. He continued to write and to live life on his own terms, even when it was difficult. As he faced the turning points in his life, Wilde remained true to himself. He refused to be defined by society's norms and conventions, and he instead chose to live life on his own terms. And in doing so, he inspired countless people to do the same. Today, Oscar Wilde is remembered as a literary genius and a man who lived life to the fullest. He faced life's turning points with courage and determination, and he never lost his irreverent spirit or his love of beauty and art. He was a true iconoclast, and his legacy continues to inspire us all.